Hey guys, this is Jake Stevenich from Spark Movement Fitness and Speed, and today I'm going to show you a couple little tricks that I've been using to teach a really good hinge technique. So hinging is like deadlifting, swinging, all of these. It's a very basic foundational movement that we use for everything. This is how we should pick stuff up most of the time. We get into these hips, use the butt muscles and the hamstring muscles and the whole backside of our body to lift weights and lift objects off the ground. Rather than, you see people, they'll bend over like this and pick it up with their back. That's what our hips are for. Our hips are meant to move and bend. So this is going to teach us a good foundational pattern for picking stuff up, and it's a foundation for all these different movements in the gym. So this is a couple of ways that I've been messing around with lately to help teach that pattern. So the first thing is we're going to grab a band, just something light, wrap it around like a pole or whatever. We're going to get in this position. So hands out here, and what I want to think about is we're keeping a line from our ears through our shoulders and into our hips. We're going to think about pushing those hips back as I push my hands forward. So in one motion, I'm going to push my hands forward as I'm reaching my butt back towards that pole. Out like this, my weight centered right over my feet. I'm going to press those feet to the ground and stand up. So I'm reaching back as far as I can. I'm thinking long from my top of my head to my tailbone. Push through the floor. So in this position, you should feel your hips load up. You should feel your glutes. You should feel your glutes. You should feel your hamstrings. Push through the floor. You shouldn't really feel your low back too much. It's more in your hips and your hamstrings. Problem, I see a lot of people, they'll kind of keep their knees locked out and they'll just rely on this band and they'll reach this way. That way you will feel your hamstrings a lot, but they get really tight. What I want you to do is reach back the same amount as you push. So those hips go back and you push away. Once you kind of get that down, you want to see that flat back, head in line, think long through the top of the head. Once you get that down, we can grab a kettlebell or a dumbbell. You're going to place this right under your sternum. Give you a little bit of weight, you're going to kind of push that in there, and then I want you to think that same pattern, doing that same pattern. So push back into those hips, push through the floor. Long through from the tailbone to the top of your head, push through that floor. And then once we get that down, that should really start to light up your hamstrings and glutes. Once we get that down, we can go into our normal kettlebell deadlift or whatever you want to use, dumbbell, barbell. For a dumbbell or barbell, you probably have to set this up a little bit higher to get down there. Flat back, long from the top of the head to the tailbone. And that's our hinge pattern.